Back when you were little, did you ever try to have fun with friends and you try to find new and inventive ways to have a good time, and then all of a sudden one of the parents come in and says, "Hey, I've got an idea of how to have fun. How about you take these metal hoops and try to throw it on that fire hydrant?" And then they end up ruining the entire hangout? No? That's fine, I just need you to get the analogy. Kathleen Kennedy. This is a name that I'm sure everybody's heard of at this point after all these years. I'm sure the name is familiar to you, but if it's not, this is the lady that was behind the sequels of the Star Wars movies and was kind of in charge of all of the big projects that came out of Lucasfilm, and she was kind of in charge of overseeing the sequel trilogies. And well, sequel trilogies. It's been years since the final Star Wars movie was released, and I'm sure that the pain that we all feel from that last episode, the ending to this horrific sequel saga, I'm sure that it's a pain that hasn't quite healed, a scar that's still bleeding in a way. And a lot of the blame for the failures of the sequel trilogy of Star Wars has been placed on Kathleen Kennedy. Now, there were some people who thought, well, that's not exactly fair. There were bad directors and, there's other things, there's other reasons why this could have failed. And I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I think it's not exactly fair to put all the blame on one person. But this week, well, there's just no way to dance around it anymore. Kathleen Kennedy is terrible, and she's gone. They released the 5th Indiana Jones movie, and there hasn't been an Indiana Jones movie in a while. It's been quite a number of years since they picked up that series again, and the last one ended on a bit of a rough note. People didn't really appreciate aliens in Indiana Jones 4. And really, I don't remember. I haven't watched Indiana Jones in a long time. But I remember, I remember the drama. And then they recently came out with the 5th one in the hopes that it would wash away all of the bad memories of the 4th one, and hoping to end the series on a really strong note. I mean, Harrison Ford seemed very, very passionate about this 5th movie, and I got excited, and everybody got excited along with me. Only to find out that it was, it was a crap movie. Now, to be 100% fair, I personally have not seen it. I can only go off of what I've heard, but from what I have heard, there's nothing really special about this movie. After the failures of all the other projects that Kathleen Kennedy has taken on, apparently this movie was taken safely. There weren't any big risks taken with this movie. Nothing really unique about it. It was a very safe movie from what I heard, and because of that, the plot and everything with it just wasn't special. And this just reignited all the flames of all the bad things that Kathleen Kennedy has done in regards to her projects and the Lucasfilm stuff. And apparently this might be the last straw for Kathleen Kennedy, because it's been reported, not confirmed, that she's been fired from Lucasfilm. Now again, it's not confirmed, but personally I think that it's pretty likely at this point, and I'd be surprised if it wasn't true. Because literally every single thing that she's been involved with, every single pie that has been baked in her presence, she's put her little fingers in it, put in the little pie holes, and smeared it all around, and now the inside's gross and disgusting. The Star Wars sequel, for one, I'm sure that most of the Star Wars fan base, not all, but a good majority of them, agreed that the sequels were bad. Really, really, really bad. And then after that, recently, there's been the Indiana Jones series, which unfortunately has ended on a sour note, which is really unfortunate because it would have been nice to end on a really high, uppity note, you know? But it goes beyond that too, because The Mandalorian, which was one of the most, oh, what was that? Did you hear that? What was that? I can't even recreate that noise. I think I might be possessed. The Mandalorian series was one of the first series that actually had success behind it. It was the first one where people looked at it and said, it's Star Wars again. It was the first time that a live-action Star Wars thing came out, and people felt that it was like going back in time, especially with Season 2. However, during Season 3, Kathleen Kennedy decided to once again put her little fingers back into the pie, and what happened? It was lackluster. Actually, no, it was more than lackluster. It sucked. It wasn't that good. When it comes to Kathleen Kennedy, the stuff she makes only follows two very, very bad roads. One, she uproots the entire thing that the story was based off of, all of the background, all the lore that was already pre-established, and uprooted it in order to make something that was completely new, her little brainchild, and then it ends up sucking because it's nothing like the story that she brought on. And the second route is that she plays it so safe that it's not even a movie or a series that's worth watching, and there's really no reason to watch the series or continue. With season 3 of The Mandalorian, I felt that a lot because it was just it was boring. There was no real reason to keep watching it. You know, it was a really big disappointment because it's a series that I really enjoyed, and up till the 3rd season, I really enjoyed it, but once the 3rd season started, there was no reason to watch it anymore because it was just a very boring plot. There's nothing new added to it, and I think the problem that Kathleen Kennedy has is that she only knows 2 extremes: extreme change and extreme bland. She doesn't know the middle path that makes a good story. Well, that actually brings up a good question. Was she involved in Boba Fett? Because it sounds like something she would do. Okay, yeah, so she was involved in Boba Fett, which I guess makes sense considering that Boba Fett, again, was an extremely boring show that didn't really follow any points in the lore. I mean, Jon Favreau directed that thing, but I'm sure with Kathleen Kennedy over the shoulder, I'm sure she made her little suggestions like, hey, what if they have a really slow speed race in the middle of the street? It just seems like everything that Kathleen Kennedy touches just turns to ash, and I'm sure she's involved in some stuff that was good, but most likely it was stuff that she didn't have a direct hand in, which is the reason why it was saved. And when it comes to stuff that she did have a direct hand in, it just immediately turned to crap. So if the rumors are true that Lucasfilm is canning her as the president, I think that can only be good news. And while I said that I believe that's what's going to happen, there is a good chance that that's not true, because she has been around for so long. Failure after failure under her watch has happened, and despite that, she still managed to stick around. I'm not entirely sure why, but she somehow managed to just stick to the body of Disney like a leech. So if I find out a week from now that these rumors are in fact not true and that she's still a part of Lucasfilm and is still a part of Disney, I'd be incredibly disappointed. But I don't think I'd be surprised, because God knows, great decisions have just been happening around that company. Banger after banger after banger, great decision after great decision. Oh man, I don't know. Not to mention that Steven Spielberg, you know, the man, personally took some pot shots at Kathleen Kennedy very, very publicly. I think that's saying something. When one of the greatest directors of our time starts talking about an executive in a way that's not exactly good, I think that's a sign that, hey, maybe Kathleen Kennedy as a producer it's a no-go.
I remember Kathy came into the room with her steno pad and her pencil, and she was horrible at taking notes, and she was terrible, and she didn't really know how to do it very well. But what she did know how to do was interrupt somebody in mid-sentence. We'd be pitching ideas back and forth, and Kathy was supposed to be writing these ideas down, suddenly put her pencil down and would say something like, and what if he didn't get the girl?
Honestly, I feel like since Disney bought Lucasfilm, it's been a disaster with only a couple good things coming out of it every now and then. And I feel like if Lucasfilm is going to survive and thrive, they need somebody new in charge. And hopefully, if this is true and Kathleen Kennedy is gone, hopefully they can get somebody that actually cares about the show. Like Dave Filoni and Favreau. Them by themselves, and they don't have anybody peering over their shoulders, they make pretty incredible stuff. And if they were to be given that kind of power within Lucasfilm, I feel like amazing things can happen. But it can't happen while Kathleen Kennedy is still there. So hopefully this rumor is true. And I wish her the best. I'm not gonna be spiteful, but I just feel like she needs to move on, find something that, you know, she's more suited for, and I wish her the best in life. Just get out of Lucasfilm. Bye-bye. But that's really all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for watching, if indeed you still are. My name is Brockster, and I bid you all adieu.